Here it is. Let's try it again. Get ready to kick off your week with Weeksauce. And if you enjoy this show, find more podcasts like it over at amove.tv. Welcome back, everyone, to Weeksauce, the podcast helping you kick off, well, your week. I'm Garrett Weinzierl. He's Kyle Ferguson. Happy Monday again, Kyle.
Happy Monday, Garrett.
Normally I don't make reference to technical issues because I feel it takes our listeners out of the whole experience. However, last week we had some tech issues, and this week they're coming back, even with all the updates and everything else. So we're really not sure what the hell is causing it. We're not sure how to fix it. We are trying to record this in Discord, which seems to be slightly better. But whatever the case is, we had a really lovely intro, Kyle, where you talked about having a great weekend with your wife. I talked about having a great weekend with my wife. We talked about the dangers of inhaling tire smoke because I was seeing drift racing. Am I missing anything?
Nah, nothing important. We're here to talk about Infinity.
Pretty much. So you saw Infinity War over the weekend?
I did.
Well, that's fun. I'm just now having a thought. Am I coming through clear for you?
It's a little crunchy.
Okay, so it's both ways. All right. Well, I guess we'll just have to rock it. We'll just have to rock it like a raccoon.
Own it.
Own it. Yep. Own this. So, whatever the case is, what'd you think of Infinity War?
Well, that feels like a pretty vulnerable position to put one in, Garrett, after your tweet last night. Also, are we being spoilerific? Because I feel like after your tweet last night that there is defending that needs to be done and a battle that needs to be had, and that is very difficult to be spoiler-free during. Plus, it's a mid-beat. The movie is literally a spoiler. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's why I didn't talk about it on Twitter. I just gave my gut reaction, which was I didn't really like this movie. Because that's about as far, I think that is as far as you can take an opinion about Infinity War without getting into spoiler territory. Because you're right, and I would say, what do we want to give ourselves? 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Do you think we can do it in 10 minutes?
I don't think there's any way you can even, like, because people are saying, like, first of all, like, the trailer has a lot of images that aren't actually in the movie.
Yeah.
People are calling those spoilers, pointing those out. So I don't think we're safe wherever we go. I say we lay down the line, say, hey, get out of here, and it's go time. It's talk time.
Yeah.
If you didn't even like Ultron, and I can't even reference Ultron connection to this thing without ruining somebody's day.
Yeah. But before we do it, can you just run a local recording for your own voice? And if I have to stitch this together old school like, we can? Because I feel like there's going to be a good discussion here, and I want it to sound okay.
Okay.
This is the most fly-by-wire podcast we're going to do since the first 10 episodes of StarCast.
All right. Local recording's on, bro. Let's do it.
All right. Can you clap into your microphone for me? Cool. All right. I can probably work with that.
Cool. That's 12 seconds for you.
Sweet. To the video watching audience, it's probably better to just listen to the audio on this one. All right. So I'm gonna put 10 minutes on the clock, Kyle. I'm literally gonna set a timer. I'm gonna set a timer here. So if you do not want to hear Infinity War spoilers, leave now. Jump ahead 10 minutes. Go. All right, Kyle. So the reason I haven't gone beyond my tweet of I don't think I like this movie, or I didn't like Infinity War, was because I think saying the reason I didn't like the movie, which is to say that it is half of a movie, is a spoiler in its own right.
Oh. Get at it. It's like, what? Are you serious, dude? That's not even a conversation, Mister. I like modern Star Wars movies.
Wait, I'm sorry. What?
Mr.
Modern
Star Wars movies is all worried that it got half a film.
But no. But Force Awakens and Last Jedi have, if you watch them by themselves, have a beginning, middle, and end.
Okay. But
both of those movies.
That's all well and good. But luckily, most Marvel movies don't just take a big old steamer on the start of your previous movie as it starts up, and Luke just throws away your plot into the ocean.
That's an issue with writing. That is not an issue with, is it a full movie or not?
Oh, but that's saying like the costumes were great, but the movie sucks ass. Like that's not an argument.
Oh, damn, we're throwing down. Yes. This is supposed to be on Infinity War and not because of Last Jedi.
No, but this is what you did. You sent out that tweet last night. So of course I'm sitting in bed and being like, oh, I'm making my opinions already about what Garrett thinks.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. Well, let me. You're putting me in a position to. We're having a discussion whether we think Rian Johnson's direction of Last Jedi was good or bad. I would argue most of it was good, especially the Luke stuff. I like everything he did with Luke.
All right, so let's go back. Because I'm fun joshing you, of course.
Yeah. But, no, man. This is 18 weeks of this show coming to a head.
But were you not pleased with the fruits you were shown for future trees to grow?
There was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. The fan service was really good fan service. The pairings of characters that have never met each other, that have met each other, was great. And Thanos worked in a way that I didn't think he would.
Cool. I thought that's where we'd start our conversation.
Cool.
Because you were upset. Like, I thought that's where this was all coming, because you didn't like Ultron. So I thought, when they're making drugs to save themselves from cancer, you're fine with complicated people. But when they're villains, you hate them complicated. But that's not the case. You liked what happened with Thanos. Well,
first, let me just stop you there. Breaking Bad is a series about a villain. So
he's still a main character. So I didn't, because I'm still confused why people don't like Ultron. He's a great exploration of a child's power over an anthill.
Maybe I actually just rewatched Avengers 2, and I'm not sure if my opinion has changed or if I just don't remember my take on Ultron. I still don't think Avengers 2 is a particularly great movie, but it's not because of Ultron. It's because of Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, and Vision. I don't give a shit about those characters.
That's fair.
I think they're the worst characters that they brought into the MCU. Ultron himself was fun, and I will say I liked Avengers 2 a lot more. This is actually my only rewatch of Avengers 2 was about 4 days ago. I haven't seen it since opening weekend. And you're right, Ultron is very fun. I still wish it was Magneto and that we had the rights to the friggin' X-Men and that Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch had a meaningful arc, but sure. But
was it supposed to be Magneto or something?
Yeah, he's the dad of both of them in the comics.
Oh, gotcha. But, yeah, so they'd still be them. It's not like Quicksilver's actually Magneto in disguise.
Right. You're right. I just think that like they kind of fell flat. It felt like because of just licensing. But back to Infinity War. No, I was really happy with Thanos. Like I thought they did a pretty good job. My issue is that and like if nothing else, please let this be a preview for Embrace the Spoilers that I'll be recording later today, where I'm sure we will spend over an hour dissecting this movie. Just there's no stakes in this movie. There's no stakes at all. Nothing matters at the end of this film.
Because you've watched too much DBZ?
No. Even if I hadn't, man, like there's no way they have the balls to stick with what they showed us. So none of it matters.
I guess. I mean, tell that to all the kids leaving the theater crying, right? I mean, this is their first rodeo.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it was, I tried really hard to stay off social media, but like at a certain point, you know, you just see things, right? And I saw so many people talking about how sad they were watching this movie, and I was just like, I felt nothing because all of this is fluff and it's not going to stick.
Oh, I mean, I think you're just rooting for the wrong characters. That's what's happening here.
I'm not seeing your connection.
All right, so who's my favorite character in this movie, Garrett?
Your favorite character?
Yeah,
Thanos.
Who? I mean, he did a good job. I like what he did.
Oh, actually, no. It's Squidward. I bet it's Squidward.
Dude, oh man, I love that line so much.
What was Squidward's actual name? What was his actual freaking name? It was something Maw, right? Ebony Maw.
I mean, he was great. He was fantastic. He combated my favorite character, Doctor Strange. And Doctor Strange is the only movie I saw multiple times in theaters. Granted, I'm counting, a cruise boat movie theater, but I saw it 3 times in theaters. I love that movie.
I love that movie too.
When you are a wizard fanboy, nothing that happened in that movie is pointless. And everything is entirely badass.
Sell me.
So everything's pointless, except for the pure 100% awesome sacrifice of Doctor Strange, who is fully aware of everything that's going on and why he is causing so much suffering to the entire team.
But we don't know if it was a sacrifice yet, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
You don't use your best weapon against me? Right? Like, what the crap? Like, he didn't use a time stone that he was just using to see the future, and then purposefully loses a battle. Of course, that's the only logical outcome, that it'll be a success, that this is how we go. And maybe, he set the point like he did in his movie, where we'll rewind to this point and Star-Lord is being an asshole and being like, what'd you do to Gamora? What'd you do, dude? And then because we went back in time, Thanos had experienced all that crap when he's haunted by Gamora and Loki and all those dudes. And then we come back to that point and Star-Lord actually causes the final overload of the emotions or whatever. Either way, all that suffering, everything that happened was because Doctor Strange is a big enough badass to not tell the non-magical pleb community that he's pulling the hot shit.
And this comes around to my beginning point, which is this is half a movie, and I don't know if it earns that yet or not.
I mean, but didn't it plant the seeds that make it a good film? Like, that's the difference between what I feel like are the half movies of our recent Star Wars franchise. They don't plant good seeds. They haven't shown that they've used their previous ideas to me. Avengers has. Avengers has been building this story for 10 years. The punching bag of Tony Stark, my previous favorite guy, he's basically tech wizard, but became a sad sack by movie 2, and they never let him get over it. Finally had his redeeming arc. Everything that he feared came to light. So he's actually not an asshole anymore. He legitimately was horrified, and it came to pass. And he's more of a human. And everything he experienced, all those horrible visions, and
so we have T-minus a minute before we're before we're out of time. Okay. So I will say a lot of this is hung up for me in the fact that we don't know how it ends. So I don't think the seeds were that interesting because it seems all too obvious how this goes.
And The Witcher had amnesia, but it's still great. There are artifacts that have to happen. Next movie's going to start 5 years in the future where we're all running around as underground, and Thanos is all like, everything's great, but then he's haunted by Gamora, and everything's not, and why are the humans still resisting? The world is perfect. And that's a good, there is the possibility, and the very strong possibility for a very strong story on the other side of this.
I think you're right. My issue is that we have to wait a year. This is not Netflix. They didn't put all at the same time, and we just don't know. And if I have to talk about this movie as it stands on its own, there's the timer. This movie, as it stands on its own, is not a movie. It is not a story.
What was it? So we're out of spoiler territory now. What was your opinion of Harry Potter 7.0, or I guess Would be 6.5. How did that even work?
It was bad in my opinion. Mockingjay Part 1, Part 2 was bad in my opinion. Like they're pretty good when you put them together. They're too long. They probably could have cut some things out. Yeah, I don't like it when movies do this. It feels just like a ploy to sell more tickets to me.
Yeah, no, I see your point, right? And I remember being really pissed off in Dragon Age 2 because they pulled the "it's gonna happen anyway" move, and I hate that in stories.
Yeah,
but when you wait, can we turn back the clock? I mean, what's
Can you turn back the clock? No. We called it 10 minutes. I'm sticking to it. I'm sticking to it.
Well, you know my opinion, and you know why I would consider all of that strong enough to support that because it do what it do, you know.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, I would. Some folks in the chat room are saying Lord of the Rings is one story in 3 movies. I really disagree. I think Fellowship, I think Two Towers, I think Return of the King, again, all have their self-contained arcs. And that's another thing. For me, the Lord of the Rings movies is a big example of why I hate it when movies cut, whether it's a book or now, I mean, this or your movie into 2 parts. Like I get very like angry at the gall. I'm like, you think you deserve more minutes than Return of the King? Get out. Like you don't. You're not gonna make a better movie.
Yeah, I agree that it's a frustrating practice for sure. However, there was fun to be had here. And I'm not saying like the popcorn kind of fun to be had. I am saying the nature of the plot devices and the powers at work allow this to be a functional plot.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I don't disagree with that. It's just that I can't agree with it until I see Part 2, which makes talking about Part 1 on its own a flawed film. I would like to, I don't know, I feel like I need to address that like this is my own personal bias. I don't like it when movies do this. I hate cliffhangers. I really hate cliffhangers. In general, it's a concept that I think is bad and seems cheap to me.
I mean, that's all Game of Thrones is. Bunch of cliffhangers.
There was only one in Game of Thrones that really bothered me, and it really bothered me.
So, I guess what... So the reason why I would struggle at this point is because I have to throw Star Wars continually further under the bus in order to drive home my point, which is you disagreed and disliked the idea that I didn't like The Force Awakens because I didn't feel like it was a complete movie, that I felt like I had to wait now 2 movies into the future to even know if I was getting a complete story.
Right. Whereas, and so, yeah, my counterpoint is now I want to get into like the topic of like, I'm not trying to convince you that you're wrong. Like, this is just my take.
I'm not taking it that way.
Yeah, this is just my take. But like, I see Force Awakens as a complete film in its own right. You could watch just Force Awakens and be fine. You don't have to see Last Jedi. You don't have to have seen episodes 1 through 6. And that's also muddies my argument because one of the, like, I have seen negative reviews of Infinity War, and a lot of them are mad at the fact that it requires prior knowledge of the other Marvel films, and that I think is the dumbest argument I've ever heard in my life because it's the entire point of this franchise.
Yeah, I mean that's just silly.
Yeah, but I think even within that construct, I haven't seen a complete film. I haven't seen a complete story, I guess. Like, so many of the Marvel movies, yes, require knowledge from their films, but they have their own complete arc within a solid 2.5 hours. And this movie doesn't.
Depends who you're rooting for, right?
I guess so. And that's where certain issues with the movie in itself make, even like if I was rooting for, I think going down the road that you're talking about, it still bothers me because of the lack of stakes. But
cool.
Yeah.
So, Yes. So I think it's safe to say that then. I don't know, man. This has been a difficult trial you put me up for, but
I'm not putting you up to anything. It's just...
No. Not that you're trying me. The trial of not talking about the thing while trying to talk about it. Because I too am very sensitive to people's, desire to be free of spoilers. But if you like certain characters, I think this is a complete movie, and I think it is very rewarding. It will come out to see how the next one goes. I hope they make the very strong start and not the weaker start, the one I kind of described there. Well, with the future and the hauntings, but
yeah.
I liked it. I had fun, and that's pretty rare for me. Maybe I didn't absorb anything. Maybe everything was gray in Ready Player One, and Tracer's pants were yellow, and just the issues that can cause, right? Like Battletoads was in Ready Player One in more locations than Tracer, but Tracer had yellow pants. Therefore, you got mad that you saw Tracer too many times.
Oh, see, okay.
But
so you're saying that
it was merely the color scale.
It's subjective.
Yeah.
Well, yes. I'm not going to make that argument either. And like I'm going to have to spend a lot more time talking about this on another show later today. And I'm just frankly, man, I'm scared. I'm scared to have that conversation because I know so many people like this movie, and I don't want to crap on it. And I had a lot of fun. There was a lot of fun things that happened in it. There were a lot of times that I really enjoyed it. Yeah, and the chat room, ETS is recording later today. As a matter of fact, Brian Ibbett was going to be joining us as a guest, who is a big Marvel nerd.
Cool.
So I'm looking forward to having that conversation. But I'm not usually in. I feel I'm not usually in this camp. Like over on Embrace the Spoilers, we have crapped on our fair share of movies. One of them was a superhero movie. It was a freaking Justice League. I thought it was one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Line up for the crap fest.
Yeah,
right?
and
Like
most recently Tomb Raider, which I thought like the first third was really good, and the back 2/3 should not have been made.
Wait, you talking about like the Through the Iris, Sand, and the Pyramid Tomb Raider movie? You talking about Tomb Raider, the what's her face gig?
Angelina Jolie?
Yeah.
No, the one that just came out.
Oh, there was that movie, wasn't there?
Yeah. We did an episode on that. Anyway, so my point being is, I don't know. This is the first time where, I don't know, I feel like my brain more or less lines up with popular opinion when it comes to a lot of films. And this is the first time where I'm kind of caught like being like, yeah, I don't think this was that good. And everyone seems to love it. And I'm concerned about having this conversation because I feel like a lot of people might think I'm trying to convince them that they're wrong.
Well, I mean, when you get to tweet style, you did lead with which meant that I was to insert my own anger on top of it already. There was an invitation to anger in your tweet that caused the initial pushback for sure.
Really?
Because of yeah, because of or starting a sentence with so. That's my own. Maybe my own internet lingo problem.
To me, now we're gonna like nitpick a tweet here, but for me, the was like me leading with uncertainty because it was just like I was so surprised that I didn't just love everything about this movie.
No, for or so is you raise your finger thusly like you have an idea and you run into the fan club room and then you jump and land it and you say I hate everything you like and just watch the room explode. You don't want anger. You yourself, you're there to have fun. You're there to troll. But you are literally jumping into the pool and saying, I hate pools. Everyone here sucks. And
that is the most loaded read of I've ever heard.
the way it's used, right? Like, Becky sucks. And that's the way, like that's how I read it. Okay.
All right.
But you're fighting an uphill battle here because you are making a stance on a half completed movie. I mean, or a half completed book or anything else. Like there's going to be fans who insert their own imaginings and their own desires on top of this while they wait for the next bit. And that's a really tough battle, really tough place to put yourself. So I applaud you. And that is going to be an uphill go on Embrace the Spoilers, I assume.
Yeah, I don't want to win. I would actually really like something that you or Jocelyn or Brian Ibbett or someone on Twitter to say to change my mind, because I love this universe so much. I just rewatched a ton of Marvel movies, and it kind of kindled my love for a property that I felt I was a little more lukewarm on, but after, God, especially I've rewatched the latter two Captain America films. I love those movies. I love that character. I hated Captain America growing up, Kyle. I hated him. I thought he was the lamest thing ever. And this movie has made me love this universe has made me love Captain America. So I'm again, that was like, it was, I don't know. Like, I just felt like I was in the middle of a sea.
It feels like you're halfway through Chamber of Secrets. And Harry goes to Hermione and goes, Hermione, where do you keep going all the time? And Hermione's like, nowhere. And Garrett's like, see? She's going nowhere, Harry. There is no time device. There's no plot here. This has made the balls up.
Wait,
nobody's going anywhere.
That's not Chamber of Secrets, but I get your point.
Right, which one is it?
That's God, it's the third one. I can't even remember.
Yes,
Prisoner of Azkaban. Yes, probably the best one.
Right, exactly. So halfway through, you're like, screw this. The rat sucks. There's no time turner. It's just also.
If they stopped there. Yes,
but
I
if
would.
If we want to talk about mad suckage, we can. If you want to give me another amount of time on the clock.
You want to talk about mad suckage?
I don't think. I mean, it's not even really worth time on the clock, is it? I mean, it's basically like, hey guys, for your next movie, the end movie, we're gonna put in a new character, and we're all like, well, where have they been? Who are they? All
right. At this point, Kyle, I'm forcing you to hold further discussions to the end of the show.
Okay.
Well, we can just have a soda or a water and mull it over.
Hey, Nick, what you making up today? Oh, not much. Just a whole new frickin' franchise for no reason. I thought we were ending things, but we'll just go into the sunset. I am personally, that's not a spoiler. I am personally pissed that there are movies beyond.
Yeah, we landed on that last week when you were surprised that there were things after Infinity War, and I was just like, okay.
Yeah, I'm real happy Ant-Man's made. I will say that. I watched Ant-Man for the first time last night. What did I watch? What the crap? But I'm happy that it's made, you know? Like, some dude... It sucks that it's part of Marvel. That's what it really is. I wish instead of being a part of Marvel, a guy walked in the office was like, dude, I got an idea. Michael Douglas can control ants. And everyone's like, whoa! Can we have young Michael Douglas in there? And they're like, of course. Awesome, man. Hook me up. What if our main hero is completely unreadable? Do it. I don't want to know his motivations. His friends are great, but, you know. Also, what if we rejumbled the movies, so only halfway through the movie you find out he actually has any skills in the environment we're supposed to believe him in? Oh, perfect. Perfect movie.
I didn't know this was going to turn into a one-man review of Ant-Man.
I'm so, like, it's such a weird spot for me. I am so happy that such an outrageous movie exists. I loved everything about not him shrinking, the ants.
I have a weird thing with Ant-Man as well, which is it's the only Marvel movie I haven't seen in the theater. I watched it on a plane because it looked lame to me, and also because I'm an Edgar Wright fan and I was mad that he was pulled off the project. But I liked it, but I don't care. I'm not gonna go see the sequel. Like, it's not a character I like that much. Even though I enjoyed the movie, I had a really fun ride with Ant-Man. I'm still just like, oh, they're making another? Oh, I'm kind of disappointed that's the next Marvel movie.
It feels... If it wasn't Marvel, I feel like it would have been sold on the graphics. You know? It would have been maybe even a 3D fiesta. Like, guys, check out this tub scene we did. Yeah, what do you think of that? And they're like, whoa, what's this like with 3D glasses? Put them on, dude. And oh my God, it's like I'm really tiny inside of a tub. This is amazing. And, like there's a world. Wasn't there a movie where the 3D was only in one part and the rest was all non-3D?
I have no idea.
Years ago.
I have absolutely no clue.
Like real people would go to a cartoon world that was 3D only in during the 3D parts or something like that.
Not ringing a bell.
No, me neither, but sounds like something that happened.
Keeping my eye on chat room just in case someone yells, but this does not ring a bell at all for me. Yeah, I don't know, man. For me, it's just Ant-Man's like, it's fun. I'll see it eventually. I'll probably enjoy it, and that'll be it. Cool.
I'm curious if it was a spectacle enough in theaters.
Yeah, I don't know. What the hell is Cool World?
Oh, well, Cool World isn't that goes to animation, right?
That's in 1992. It looks
it's like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but like extra sexual. And Who Framed Roger Rabbit is like kind of sexual and kind of weird in that way, but this is like extra.
Yeah, it is. I've never heard of this, and I'm looking at it, and yeah, this is pervy as hell.
I mean, old cartoons are pretty pervy. The wolves, tongues rolling out, and the girls dancing around and whatnot.
Oh my God, Brad Pitt is in this? Oh my God, I need to watch this movie at some point.
This looks big old zoot suit doesn't fit in kind of style.
Yeah. Oh my God, look at the size of those lapels.
It's not a good movie. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
I need to see that. It looks terrible.
Yeah.
It looks really bad.
Pretty bad.
It looks really freaking bad. But yeah, whatever the case is, man. I was going to take this more in the direction I'm concerned about talking publicly about how I didn't like something so many people liked.
And I would urge you to not back off that position, but I think for spoilers, let pep talk. Like we can find something good for you, like something to grab onto.
Oh yeah, no. I have a ton of positive things prepared to bring into Embrace the Spoilers. Like there's a lot I liked about Infinity War, so just not the story. So, anyways, we've got a lot of questions to burn through. You just want to dive in?
Yeah, let's do.
Cool. Last week we had to cut them short because we were having audio issues. You're actually sounding really good right now. And have for a while. So I don't think I'm going to have to do as much cleanup as I thought, which makes me really happy. Anyway, Shorel wrote in and said, if you were to design a game for you and your wife to play together, what major elements or themes would it have?
To be topical.
Topical?
Yes, topical. Blizzard is looking for people to hire for some sort of shooter.
I thought you were saying the game had to be topical, and I'm like,
no.
That's a loaded statement.
It'd be untimeless. It'd be political, perhaps. No, gross. I'm a little sad. I think Blizzard probably just liked Ready Player One now and just put their name on it. I was hoping that they would want their name to be synonymous with virtual reality for their future move, if you will. I would love a virtual reality game, a real one, like something I actually want to play. They're all activity boxes. I spend my day at a computer screen, and more recently, a lot of time editing. I would like to stand up with my wife. I would like to run around and flail my arms.
Yeah. That I could get into that. Something with less traditional controls would probably be great. Katie never made the jump to dual analog and doesn't seem to have any interest in making that jump. So that would be good. She'll play retro games to her heart's content. Recently got the SNES Classic. It's getting a lot of use in our house.
Nice.
But other than that, the games that we traditionally enjoy together are ones that have very good stories. A big one for us was Last of Us. That was the first time ever I remember playing a game that Katie did not participate in the playing of in any way, shape, or form, and her being like, "Hey, don't you dare play this when I'm not home." Like she just had to see what happened next, and we experienced that whole thing together like a really good series. Because it's about as long as a series. I wouldn't say movie because it's a lot longer than a movie. And that was very special. Last of Us is a very special place in this household.
Yeah, we did the same with the original BioShock as well. And
that is one I'm thinking about introducing Katie to. She's never seen it.
I think it'd be pretty fun. It might be outdated in its twist right now. That is
Yeah,
older style.
But yeah, I don't know. I booted it up recently. It still looks pretty surprisingly good for when
Not
it
too
came out.
bad.
Yeah. It holds up surprisingly well. But if I was to design a game for us to play together, I don't know. I think I'm kind of I didn't even think about VR, but you're right. Katie and I like doing things in the real world together that require going places, doing things. So a more active gaming experience would probably go over real well.
Well, and like you said with story, I think there is a great balance you can have for the two kind of extremes of what you like to digest. Some people like to digest heavy action. Some people like to digest things heavy story. I know for Kristen that things need to be story rewarding in order to even have the action be worth it. So I would love something very low action, but high points of execution. So if there was let's say an MMO where you were a samurai wandering the world, and when you met up with another samurai, you would spend the first let's say the fight lasts 10 minutes, but only 2 minutes of that is actual fighting. The rest of it is you standing there adjusting your sword location and technique for your eventual charge. And it's all about reading each other and what kind of class samurai are they, what moves do they have you heard about them on the forums, and like this real kind of backstory intensive researcher, more maybe realistic, but gamified version.
That's interesting. Yeah, because I'm trying to think of the type of fiction that Katie and I really, really enjoy, and it's kind of, I don't know. We really like, obviously, survival horror is just a thing in general. Katie really enjoys. Because I'm trying to think of it, like Mad Max Fury Road, Last of Us, Logan. These are all, somewhat modern westerns in certain ways. Maybe Fury Road less so than Last of Us and Logan. But they're like, I don't know. We really just enjoy some really solid drama writing in the middle of our fiction.
Yeah, and something powerful and decisive that the character can do, whether it's violence or not.
Right.
But just some sort of control over their world.
Yeah. Because the other thing we really like that's on the opposite end in terms of execution is Doctor Who. But you see the same kind of things happen there, right? Like you see, the best episodes of Doctor Who are the saddest.
Yeah.
For the most part. Some of them just have really good concepts, like Blink, for example. I wouldn't say Blink is a sad episode, but it's a great episode of what Doctor Who stories can tell in a sci-fi mechanic type thing. But for me, I show up to Doctor Who for the big kind of emotional episodes. And that doesn't, Doctor Who never comes down to extreme violence. That's not a thing, but it has the same type of weight as certain things that happen in Logan and Last of Us do.
Yeah, so something heavy with a journey, with a good quest to it, that's not necessarily hack 'em slash the whole way.
Yeah. We also just like a good crew. So older Avengers movies. By the way, Katie hated Infinity War more than I did.
that will taint one's opinion too. So you got to be careful.
Well, no, we're split on Ready Player One. I defended that movie quite a bit to her, and she's like, "No, that movie was just a big box of it was okay." She's like, "That was nothing special at all."
That's true. I mean, I have a lot of other issues with Ready Player One that I know are personal.
Yeah. I just, for me, that was the one where I was like, that's just fun. I thought that was fun from a popcorn aspect. I don't know why I am being harsher on it. I think I just expected more from Infinity War, I guess. I didn't expect much from Ready Player One. But
hope you're not expecting much from that Jurassic Park thing either.
No, I'm not. And it actually kind of looks fun. Like, I saw a new trailer.
The house stuff looks fun.
Yeah, it does. It does. What? But and I remember coming out of Jurassic World being like, that was really fun. And the further I get from the movie, the more I'm like, that is a really dumb movie. That is one of the worst scripts I've ever seen in recent memory.
Yeah.
Next to the Independence Day sequel, which I really do think is the worst movie I've seen in the last 15 years.
It was pretty bad.
The movie was crap. I hate that movie. But whatever the case. Back to Shorel's question. I don't know. Anything that has just a good kind of survival aspect. We're also quite into, you need, like I mentioned, a good crew. You need a good crew. Like, I like ensemble casts. Those are fun too, whether it's Avengers or Fast and the Furious. It's fun to pal around with people that like being around each other. But, yeah. Now I'm just thinking VR. I think, actually, the two of us, if we had the money, would really enjoy, like, bonkers racing setups. Like, we got, like, the wheels and the chairs, and I still want to get a VR headset for nothing else than for a racing game that has VR support. Like, I want to sit in the car, and I want to be able to look out my side window going into a turn.
I mean, that's an achievable goal in modern technology.
Yes,
that's
it is.
Cool.
I believe Project Cars does exactly that. I'm a Forza guy, and they have not added VR support to Xbox One yet, so that makes me sad. But
you don't even have a VR set, do you?
No, I don't. They're expensive, and at the moment, I want it for one very specific reason, and I don't even have a racing wheel yet. So racing wheel is going to come first, and we'll move from there. But I feel like the two of us would have a lot of fun if we each had our own setups, but that's a huge investment. I don't know if you've looked, just a racing wheel I want is like $300.
Well, and the headsets themselves, even on Steam, and then you got to decide kind of like console, which one you're going with, and
yeah.
I think I'd go with the console VR headset just because the idea of being on a computer and that madness of, is my VR the correct VR? Like, I had that enough with normal computer games. Like, can I up the graphics more? Can I get better performance?
Yeah. And then,
I don't want to worry about that when I'm swinging my hands around.
The thing that's gonna tilt my decision in the VR landscape is when they finally start making X-Wing and TIE Fighter games again, and they have VR support. That's gonna be like, all right, well, this is just money I no longer have.
I don't think I need the directional, the treadmill under my feet, but I gotta move. I just want to move. That's what it's about.
Yeah. That being said, that treadmill exists. It doesn't work as good as it does in Ready Player One, but it does exist.
No, and if it's not perfect, then why? And I'm still waiting on motion sickness. It's got a long way. I think it needs to track my eyeballs before I can handle it.
Yeah. I still just haven't even tried VR. I want to, but it's expensive, and I don't think there's enough out there to justify the cost at the moment. But, yeah. Joshua Morit asks, with the new God of War out there, are there any hugely hyped games that are kind of meh for you? I want to love God of War, but it just seems like another third-person game to me. My lazy answer is Final Fantasy, but my complete apathy for that entire franchise is pretty well documented, I feel like. Like, I just don't like Final Fantasy.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. It is a very... It's a weird thing. It's like Star Wars in that way. You don't like laser swords? Shit, dude. Like, whoops. You're not going to like the movies much. And at this point, it's like, it's Chocobo. And you're like, why? Who? That seems ineffective. They have a car. Why don't they ride that? And it's like, no, but the music plays whenever you're on it. I'm like, what music? The music from the X. I didn't play that one. And the times go by. So.
Yeah.
I did enjoy 10. It was the perfect kiss in the water, age. Oh my God, it's a girl. Oh, he has daddy issues. Ooh, I wonder if I'll have daddy issues when I grow up. Like, it was the perfect age for me to play 10 with old swimmer trunks.
Recently, it's Zelda Breath of the Wild. The first 10 hours of that game like blew my mind, really sucked me in, and the more and more I play it, the less I like it.
So did you not beat it?
No, I don't like it enough to keep playing.
I'd have to think on this one a bit, because I recently did try to go through Bastion, but I love the soundtrack, and the soundtrack has been elevated beyond the video game for me, and the video game is very much a product of its time. Every 5 seconds, it's replacing your old weapon with something you just unlocked, and you're like, shut up, game, stop it. I already know what I want. The original weapons you started me with. Let's get over this joke. But that is very much a product of indie Steam. When greenlight and games like Bastion, which I don't think was greenlit, but these sort of indie games for the first time were really ending up on major platforms. And isn't it like owned by WB and all sorts of crap? Like it's not indie, but
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Bastion is one that always comes back up. Typically when I'm speaking to you, and then a few days later I'll get tweets from people like, "Have you played it yet? You need to play it." But I just haven't gotten around to it. I feel like I say the same thing every time. It looks beautiful, but I haven't played it.
And it might be better with the soundtrack, not as a part of your life already.
Probably.
Hyper Light Drifter was heavily recommended, and that's kind of like a Bastion too. So maybe I just don't like those top-down adventure games much. I do have a lot of feelings about the most recent God of War because I went through. This is a tough one. It feels like we're back in original Avengers coming out. I'm like, it's space aliens, and all the jocks are like, I know, right? And you're like, and you liked it, and they're like, yes, aliens are cool. And you're like, shut your freaking face, you jerk. You didn't like anything nerdy, and then you're like, well, yeah, but you're too nerdy. And you're like, well, where's the line, bro? That's how I feel about God of War right now. Everyone's like, it's such a rich story, and I'm like, I love God of War before it had a story, you jackass. I liked it back when I was humping dudes into the sun. Like, that's what God of War is about. And they're like, it's so much more than that. He's got a kid now. It didn't need to be more than that. That was the point, was to express my sexuality to the cosmos as I blow another man into the universal fire pit. Like, that's great. That's all that matters. I want to climb a god and stab it in the eye. Like, and it's so rich. You won't believe how they work the fast travel system. Shut up.
And see, I didn't like God of War. Like I had fun with the first one. It was, to me, like it was perfect at that time. The second nudity in video games was no longer interesting to me. I didn't give a crap about the God of War franchise anymore.
I mean, you read for the articles, you know?
Well, that's right. Like it was fun game. I like Devil May Cry. That was a game that I played far too much on the PS2, back in early high school days. So to me, God of War is just a butt rock version of Devil May Cry. Like if you like Godsmack, if you liked The Rock before he is in good movies, you're gonna love God of War. Like that's what it was to me.
Yeah. And I get it. And too, like much like Bastion, if you play original God of War too far after the fact, I mean even a year, because kind of like World of Warcraft said, hey guys, factions for 4 years, and we all went, oh no, and every faction because World of Warcraft did it. Same thing with quick, like you can complain to quick type events to me. Like do it, it's fine.
I actually don't mind them. And God of War, I think, has some of the best ones. I think Resident Evil 4 is the worst offender of quick time events. It almost makes what, in my opinion, is the greatest Resident Evil of all time bad.
Okay, that's fair. That's because they are stupidly inserted, and there's no reason why you should lose your fight with Muscles Shield Arm at that point just because you missed a circle. But in God of War, as opposed to like lifting the door in other games, or like getting the ladder ready for Ella or whatever the hell her name was in Last of Us, like you were ripping off heads and punching out eyeballs when you pushed in the analog sticks. Like they were special. They're dated, but they were used well for that game.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The part of the original God of War that still sticks with me is the extreme brutality. And I still enjoy that. There's something about that I really like. It's why I have mained a barbarian in Diablo 3 since the beginning.
It's a pantheon, and I'm pretty well seasoned on it just because I have so many D&D books made of other pantheons, like the Greek pantheon. So I was going, oh, I have the stats for Minotaur. I'm kicking one's butt. Oh my God, it's Zeus. Oh, it's...
Yeah, I did not have that. I did not have that. I was just like, oh, cool, there's boobs in my video game, and it's really violent. That was...
I mean, my favorite camp counselor would read me Greek stories as we all fell asleep. I thought that was all the other kids were like, shut up. I'm like, this is badass, dude. The theater guy, The guy who runs, I mean, granted, it's some mountain camp in the middle of New Mexico. It's not a big deal, and this guy probably isn't a big deal. I don't know what he's up to these days. But the guy in charge of the theater there was reading us Greek stories at night. That's awesome.
That is pretty freaking cool. All right, so you have a little more attachment there than I do. So yeah, so to me, not liking God of War, I look at this new one and be like, oh cool, it looks very Last of Us. It has a Last of Us-esque story. So I want to play it. I still haven't, but at some point I will.
And at some point I will too, once I get a PS, what, 4? 4?
PS4.
4.
PS4.
Okay. We'll see.
Yep.
Maybe someday.
Yep. Eventually. Andrew Tarnowski asks, has there been a topic you wanted to make a podcast for but felt it was too finite a subject to justify, i.e. there's maybe 20 episodes in this and it won't make enough on Patreon/sponsor to justify taking time away from what pays the bills? I don't think of every show whether or not it'll pay the bills. But yes, I mean, short answer, yes. I've twice now almost started a Destiny podcast.
I heard they're having a new expansion, right? That a lot of hopes are on.
Yeah. I haven't seen any hope. I follow quite a few Destiny content creators on Twitter, and most of them seem to be agreeing that this is just the Bungie cycle all over again, which is look at this shiny thing and then nothing for too long.
If anything, I'd say I'm more disturbed that there aren't more topics I'd want to do a podcast on, but then I'm also wait, hang on now. Oh my God. Next year will be 10-year veteran, a 9-year veteran of doing this sort of thing, of producing content on the internet. And I think my eyes for what has legs have grown too strong. I feel like in the past I used to have like, oh, that'd be so cool. Oh, and this is coming out. I feel like nothing's coming out anymore of that weight. Like we're done with MMOs as a culture. And that's really, like we were talking about this in VR there. I miss my second skin. I want to be back in the world. I want to participate. I want to be somebody that I'm not and have people go, oh man, there goes so-and-so. He's badass. And actually I'm like, yep, just got home from a really unbadass day of work and taking care of responsible things. But here in this world, I'm a badass. That's how you know me.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, man. It's that kind of game being made, they're not being made. It's still World of Warcraft, which is fine, but I'm ready for something new.
I'm ready to break out of the action bar. I don't know if I'm going to do this next expansion. I've thought that before. I've just never really gotten around to saying it because I'm always like, I'm kind of into it. But this time, we're trotting out. You know, I'm not a big Sylvanas person. I love me
Sylvanas, so
that's great. Like I couldn't tell you why. I don't know why yet. And it could just be as simple as, well, everyone likes Sylvanas. I'm not, whatever. She's too
cool. She's the Knuckles of
maybe, right? Like maybe that is, and she's really, really cool. But honestly, it's the action bar. I do not want to go back to a 1 through 9 button system and put buttons on your keys. And honestly, I'm looking at the same heal bot I was in college 12 years ago. That's what I see when I play World of War, and it's my favorite part of the game. It's my favorite. I love healing. I love supporting so damn much. But I'm gonna go back to enjoying Healbot, and I'm done with the puzzle. I've solved it. I heal you a bunch, and I put a sparkle ball on that guy, and then I shield myself to run real fast out of this poop. And there's nothing wrong with that gameplay, and that's what's so sad about it.
See, that's kind of what I still like about World of Warcraft is that to me it's like getting in a car. I can get in any car and know how to drive it.
Exactly, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I'm real happy that's how cars work because you kind of have to make sure you can drive one every time you're in one.
Yeah, I don't use bike as a analogy because I honestly don't know if I could still ride a bike, Kyle. It has been so long.
It goes pretty fast. You'd be surprised. Did you used to dismount on one side while still riding in?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're good.
But we're talking like 10 years old might have been the last time I rode a bike.
Yeah. And what other fancy shit could you pull when you're 10 that you can do better now, right? you have cash in your pockets. You got a car, you know? 10-year-old, you could pull that off. You can do it again, no problem.
Fair enough.
I can still juggle 3 balls, you know? It's not, these things come back pretty fast.
Yeah. Yeah, but for me, it was Destiny. Like, that's a game I really like, but it comes in waves, man. Like, I go hard into Destiny for like 2 months, and then I'm just like, yep, they don't iterate on this game fast enough. They really don't. Like, I got nothing. And I don't.
There's also,
I don't know. Sorry, go ahead.
There's just also a lot of games that are part of my diet now. Like, I'm back on Darkest Dungeon at the moment because I love it. And I got the expansions for myself during this last sale. I don't want that game corrected for me. I don't want it to be a social experience. My mistakes in Darkest Dungeon are part of the exploration. The last thing I want is someone saying, nah, you can't bring Shieldbreaker into the Crimson Court. That's messed up, bro. And it's like, that's actually said pretty nicely because there's a bro on the end there. But, you know, just hear it. Or how about, you know, you're playing Play the Spire and someone said, oh, you missed lethal by 1. You're just like, not in this game, bro. Not you don't.
I think that's fair. Like I can understand that. Like, there's just games you don't need the audience for, or don't want the audience for, or are made worse for having an audience.
Yeah, so I would say I'd absolutely start a show, but I know that doesn't have legs, and I am really excited for the next thing. And I would have started a World of Warcraft podcast every single, you know, expansion release there was. But I know I burn out, and I know my own limits there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough thing. I don't know. You want to hear the other one I really want to do shouldn't be a surprise because of how much I talk about this subject, but I would like to do something based on cars. Tried it very briefly. Couldn't make it work with my co-host time-wise because he has a traditional job with traditional hours, and I want to be done at 5 o'clock.
Sure.
But I want to do something with that. I'm flirting with solo YouTube content. There's some stuff on the back burner. Don't be surprised to see some stuff in the near future. But the car one is a big one. Like, at some point, I'd like to do something with cars. The problem is that is really expensive. Cars are freaking expensive. And we already have cars I would like to take into the video landscape. Like, they would be fun to go and track. But it's going to cost me like $300 to go to the track for the first time. Just once, for one track day. Like, that's expensive.
Mine is even more minor, right? Like, I'm like a $30 D&D Nope. We'll pass for now.
Yeah. Yeah, like, it's just, I'm used to my hobby being computer games. Like, I drop a couple grand on a good rig. That rig lasts me 4 to 5 years, and I don't need to worry about it for a while. Like, here's $60 here and there for a game, right? So trying to make content for something like vehicles, where you're talking hundreds of dollars every time you want to, you know, modify a vehicle or go and run a track day. I just don't know where to begin with that.
I mean, it's definitely an interesting time too, because different aspects require such different tech. Like, we're realizing here in our house that the tech we have put together to run a Heroes of the Storm stream surpasses what we need to do most other activities because of the core setup. Heroes of the Storm runs on a single core, and so does most streaming programs, which means it's very, very, very taxing to run Heroes of the Storm. But that also means that we're fully equipped to stream whatever the heck we want. One thing I'd really like to do is get a nice high-quality camera so I can review D&D books. I'd love that show. I'd love talking more. I'd love to paint minis. I'd love to build little sets and host D&D in my house, running through the sets that I maybe paint on stream and whatnot. I mean, it's almost like cosplay, but for your imagination and miniature. It'd be a lot of fun to do all that, but a lot of it does come down to the initial investment, and minis are crazy expensive.
Yes. Yes, so are the paints, so are the tools.
Yeah.
I've got a couple Star Wars models that I picked up at Celebration over a year ago now that I still have not built because I have none of the tools to do it right. I don't want to just snap these things off the plastic brackets and have a gnarled, you know, plastic X-Wing hanging around.
That's what I do with my Gundams. But you're an adult. You're making them so they can sit nicely and
Right.
I built Shepherd displays.
I built Gundam models, and they all look like shit. I had a great time as a kid, but I'm more anal retentive now.
I did get a golden one when my buddy went to Taiwan. He brought it back for me. And that one I did all the filing and the official and then the glue and stuff.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Well, rad, man. Yeah, but that's about it for me, man. I don't know. As far as games, yeah, I just don't know. I'm waiting for the next thing, like you said, that has legs on it. Maybe it's Anthem, but I don't know. It's coming out of BioWare, who I don't really trust anymore.
No, I assume it'll be just like the Mass Effect multiplayer, where it'll be a fun co-op experience, slam and jamming. Maybe is the whole game supposed to be that too?
I don't know. It looks good, but I've been burned by BioWare too many times now, so I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I would play. You know what? I'd like to play more Titanfall. I really like that game, and no one I know gives a crap.
I mean, you can stream whatever you want, man. There's nothing stopping you. But it is sad when there are some, like, and people will say things like, oh, Deus Ex, I love Deus Ex, man. And then you check it out on Twitch, and there's 8 people total watching other people play Deus Ex, and not a sound business decision does that make?
Nope. No. So it's rough. Yeah, not sure. So there's things rattling around in my brain. You'll probably see a couple new things from me by the end of the year. But we'll see what those look like. But I think this brings us to the end of the game, end of the show.
Good game.
Yeah, good game, Kyle. Good game. Slap hands. Before we go, dude, you do other shows besides this. Where can folks find you?
I do. You can find me actually today. We're doing the Jeff Kanata training episode. That'll be at caffeine.tv/Jeff Kanata. That'll be at 1 p.m. Pacific time today. We'll be doing some Gold League training, but he did just have a second kid, so I assume we'll be doing some refreshing, making sure everything's good for the week so that he can keep on grinding it out effectively.
The recent second daddy refresher. That's my favorite episode.
Exactly.
That's good, though. That's really applicable to a lot of things that happen in life. New job, just move. Just get a new computer after yours was broken for a month. Okay, exactly. Well, that's rad. Folks, I'm Garrett Art on Twitter. All of the podcasts I do can be found at amove.tv. Do not forget to check out Embrace the Spoilers this week. There's 2 feeds now. There's Embrace the Spoilers, like all the things, and then there's Embrace the Spoilers Westworld, because Westworld Season 2 is back, so we're doing that week to week, but we're still doing 2 movies a month, and today we're recording Infinity War with Brian Ibbett. So if you want to hear a lot more about my thoughts, and I'm assuming 2 people have probably liked it a lot more than I did, tune into that. Embrace the Spoilers, wherever podcasts can be found. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of Weeksauce. Thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, good luck and have fun.
Take care.
Did you have anything else you just had to yell about Infinity War before we left?
Oh, right. That is I forgot. Wizards Rock.
Oh yeah. Okay, so chat room, Infinity War spoilers run now. All right, Wizards Rock.
Yes. Yeah, that was what I was getting at. And the other part was that Captain Marvel, what the hey? I'll go with you there. But that's after the credits, so.
Oh, you're just mad that they're making a Captain Marvel movie?
I just don't think it's the right time to say, and more heroes to come. And you're like, okay, where was Hawkeye?
It sounds like I was doing some reading up on the Captain Marvel movie because I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll really like this movie if Ant-Man and Captain Marvel take place after the events of this movie, and they don't. So that makes me mad. So I'm like, oh, that'd be ballsy to try and kind of make that work, but they're not. They take place before Infinity War. But it sounds like Captain Marvel is going to dive into a lot of the history of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Avengers and whatnot, going back to like the 90s, which actually kind of excites me. I like when they do history stuff in the Marvel Universe.
Okay, a bit tacked on, but sure. We're not getting that before the next Avengers movie, though.
Yes, we are.
We are? We're getting Marvel between
We're getting Ant-Man, and we're getting Captain Marvel before Infinity War Part 2.
Huh. Okay. Oh, we'll see then.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I got. So it's weird. I was disappointed to find out that Captain Marvel doesn't take place after this movie, but before the next one. But at the same time, when I found out that it's going to be kind of diving into the 90s, it sounds like, I'm like, oh, you know what? I do kind of want to watch that.
It's fun to do older period pieces, particularly when our technology's gotten so bogus at this point. I think nanomachines is a dead road, which is why you die after you invent them.
I don't like nanotech.
Even though you didn't die.
I don't like nanotech, and I have never enjoyed it.
Yeah, nanotech's dumb, but it's also the end of the road because there you're reaching that like organic computer hybrid, ooh, and you can't go any further. That's like the best thing we can know outside of being energy and pure light or something.
That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the beginning of every Metroid game for the Marvel Universe, where there's like, the tech has gotten too ridiculous. You have lost all of your upgrades. Start from square one. That's what I'm ready for. As awesome as Black Panther was, the Wakanda tech is getting a little too ridiculous.
Well, it keeps building on itself, right? And you don't want to ignore previous advancements in tech. And like, if Bruce Banner didn't even work on Vision when they incorporated the stone, he was just chasing it, and also Hulk most of that movie anyway. So when the girl was like, oh, you didn't interwave the circuits, and he's like, I didn't, and I'm like, well, you didn't in the first place, bro.
No, he was in scientist mode most of that.
Yeah, I mean, he was helping out, but the stone integration, that was all Ultron. And as far as I remember, Ultron kind of went, and there. It's attached.
Yeah, but they continued working on it afterwards. So they don't get into specifics. So you could make the argument that he had a chance to improve.
That's true.
He
ran off and went into his human form. And I'm like, who the heck is this guy? Oh, it's Vision. Okay.
Oh, that's just a problematic character for me. I never cared about him or Scarlet Witch. But
do fine.
Vision is too powerful. He's problematically powerful to the point where they never really do anything with him. They just spend every movie with him in it figuring out how to sideline him because he would just win.
Yeah, I mean, he gets stabbed and is like, oh, can't help, guys. Sorry, everybody.
Yep, I'm making that face. I'm making that, I can't, what is this feeling face?
Well, which is why Doctor Strange is the best character in all the Marvel movies. Because
listen, dude, I am with you. I love Doctor Strange.
He's like tier freaking S in power. He went 1-to-1 there for a bit too. And you know, I mean, Captain America gets his hold the glove moment, and Thanos is like, "Ooh, I respect you because I'm a cool guy." But you know, Doctor Strange was the real victim.
I think he just made me land on my biggest positive, which was I didn't think that Doctor Strange would be like the biggest hero in this movie, and I'm very happy he was.
Yeah. I mean, the way they were shown in the trailer made it look like he's going to get owned square one, like most of them were. But he pulled some mad whiz-biz, and that's where we hit the butting of heads, because I do not like inevitability. I hate it. I hate inevitability in my video games and my movies. I want to have an impact. That's why I'm watching fantasy. There's plenty of things I can't affect in real life, bro. I just look at the news, you know. I'm just like, I wish my will could be imposed. But when it's time, when they messed with time, that's cute. That's really cute, dude. And if they pull it off right, all that stuff comes back on itself, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see the next one.
I'm definitely seeing it. This hasn't destroyed all of Marvel for me. This has its own thing, standalone. I just walked away like feeling empty, like I just watched nothing happen for 2.5 hours. But
yeah, I feel you, and it's more just to me it's all justified by, you know, people being like, well, why didn't he tell them? Why wouldn't he tell them that he knew that they had to not? Why didn't he open a portal and cut off his own arm like that guy did to the one dude? And it's like, well, obviously when Strange was having a fit there, he tried that. And it didn't work. So this was the future that works. And Strange knew it. And if he told any of you, hey guys, if we all act the exact way we're going to, it's going to be fine. You'd all go, wait a minute, do I have free will? Oh, crap. And they like start flipping tables and like poking themselves in the head just to mess with the future, which you would ruin. And Doctor Strange would have to do it all again.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me. That's not my complaint. It's just,
as long as we're cool.
Mine is like, I think I need to see the next movie, which is my biggest issue. But I think it's just that there are probably a lot of things that could have been cut, and this could have been one movie.
I mean, there's a lot of doofing.
There's a lot of goofing.
But we're in TV. We're in TV mode for movies. Our movie writers are from TV nowadays, and it's just a very different field. The job is to keep things going. I mean, look at this new Harry Potter flick coming out. You know, she's suffering mad from Michael Crichton syndrome.
What, of just writing the same stuff?
Everybody's got a gun, you know.
Everybody's got a gun.
Like Michael Crichton, he makes some good books, you know, and some of them get turned into movies. And as soon as Michael Crichton's books got made into movies, he's like, and the scientist is also a secret agent. And you're like, shut up, dude. It's fine when they're just scientists. And so now J.K. Rowling's like, and also a billion wizards. They battle for reasons. And then this character shows up and they've got a gun.
I'm not sure I agree with that. I actually rather enjoyed Fantastic Beasts, but
I think Winning Through Love is cheesy, but because it works better in books, of course. But I think things are getting a little oddly action-packed in the Harry Potter universe.
I think that's fair. I guess I'll need to see the movie because I didn't think the first one was too action-packed. I see what you're talking about though in the trailer.
Yeah,
like I can see what you're getting at, but as long as those are like scenes from like of a climax and not the majority of the movie, I think we'll be okay. Well,
and you know, it's also that old problem. Like this is the retirement of our Avenger. I would assume, looking at the movies anyway, we don't seem to have more Stark. We don't seem to have more Captain America. I'm sad there's no more Doctor Strange apparently up on the list, but that's good. You got to retire because otherwise you get stuck in a time loop where if somebody just shows up all the time. Oh, it's you! Massive war breaks out. It's like, well, can't live like that.
That's just, I think they just haven't announced the next phase is what it boils down to. Some people will retire. I don't think they're all. Like I would not expect Strange to be done. He's only had one standalone movie.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know what you do with Thor either. I mean,
just keep making Thor movies because they just keep getting better every time.
Yeah, he's got no people though. I mean, you're gonna trot him off into Deus Ex territory soon.
I think that's fine. I would watch that movie. But yeah, well, whatever the case is, I appreciate you letting me take a first stab at parsing my thoughts.
Yeah, no, of course, man.
Yeah, dude. Anyway, folks, we're gonna wrap this up here. Have a good one. Bye, chat. You've been awesome.